Well, hi YouTube, and welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. And today I just want to discuss, it's not going to be a review, I just want to discuss some of the things I've done around my home that involve smart home items and smart home electronics. And you guys, I don't know if you watch my videos before, you know I'm a huge watch collector. I review watches, but I review other items as well. When I make a purchase, I love sharing it with you guys because, let's face it, all this stuff is about, I don't know, it's just cool stuff. You wear a watch, it feels cool, you get something new for your home, it's cool, right? And in the case of smart home items, it's about convenience. So I just want to talk a little bit about some of the items that I have and what I've done. And so what I have is I have home security surveillance system involving 9 different cameras with hard drives. And of course, and I'm not going to talk too much about that today. I want to talk about more of the smart home stuff that is more for convenience and kind of gives you that cool factor. So I just did a video of a smart home thermostat, and I'm just going to go ahead and pick you up, just kind of walk you around for a second. And as you can see, over here on the wall, I decided to go with the Honeywell T5, the Lyric one. Of course, right here, you'll see right on the table here, there is a Alexa, which she just turned on, of course, voice activated. Of course, up here we have a Zomato pan tilt camera, and this camera will actually allow me to remotely pan around my downstairs living room. It's got infrared, so I can see exactly what's going on downstairs. It's got live alerts, so if the front door opens or there's movement at all, it'll basically let me know, hey, there's movement. It takes a snapshot. I get it instantly on my phone. It's always going off. Then, of course, you have here above, you'll have some halogen track lighting. And over here, this is a GE Z-Wave switch. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. And of course, we come around here. We have mounted on the wall a Vzo 70 with a Smartcast feature built in. Beneath that, you also have a Vzo Sound Bar, which is fantastic. It's one of the best sound bars to date that I've heard. I got a lot of them and returned a lot of them when I was looking for a sound bar because I didn't really want to go too crazy in this room with putting in-wall speakers or having all my audio equipment. There's a reason for that. I'll show you that in a second. And then, of course, we have over here the Google Home on the end table. And, of course, we come over here, and for the soundbar, we have underneath the love seat here, we have Vzo's super flush mounted sub. And let me tell you, I've had a lot of different subs, and the thing is an 8-inch, and it sounds phenomenal. It's really tuned, really deep. And, of course, over here, we have hidden behind the curtain, we have the rear surrounds for the soundbar. And I wanted something that had rear surrounds. Now, they're not big surrounds, and I've had some really extensive home theater systems in the past, but I'll tell you, for what it is, it works fantastic, and it sounds really, really great. Now, in the cans up above here, we have a set of LifeX flood bulbs to color 1000s. In the upper fixture over here, we have another LifeX standard bulb, color 1000. And, of course, in the lamp over there, I had an extra one, so I went ahead and put a color 1000 in that lamp as well. As far as the TV is concerned, now you'll notice this cabinet behind me and 3 speakers on the wall. When I first got a TV down here, I wanted to take advantage of the in-wall cabinet. And as time goes on, we definitely desensitize, and bigger always seems to be better when it comes to a TV, right? So I had back in the day a 42-inch LCD projection TV. I gave it to my folks, and then I went ahead and got something a little bigger. And because the TVs have gotten so thin with the frame, I was able to fit a 48-inch Roku Insignia TV, which was a great deal, and the TV's fantastic. And then, of course, we have some high-end Kenwood, this is pretty old stuff, it still works, kind of the Elite Series Kenwood receiver, 200-disc changer. Now, this technology, compared to the new stuff, compared to the one in my bedroom, the new Sony, where you can calibrate everything, this you have to do it all manually. I mean, we're talking pretty old school. We have your Indiglo cursor, not even touchscreen remote. This stuff I got back in like 1998, and it says a lot about the quality because this stuff still works, and it still sounds fantastic. Now, I used to have the really big high-end towers, and this stuff was not cheap, let me tell you. And, a lot of times, people say you get what you pay for, but in this case, you really do. It's lasted me for years. I did have, and then, of course, you have a DVD player, right? I don't have a Blu-ray. Everything I do now is streaming, and I have network-attached storage upstairs that with these devices, I can actually select anything off my hard drive and play it to any TV in the house with the Google Smartcast, okay? That can be set for the TV, and that can also be set for this TV because I've added on this TV, although it has Roku built in, and Roku has its own app that you can access the drive, and you won't be able to see a nice menu, but you can access my network-attached storage, which is upstairs, and still pick out one of 600 movies that I could basically just click and play. And you have to, of course you don't get the nice fancy menu and all that stuff, but if you know the name of what you want to watch, it'll play on this TV too. If I didn't want to do that, I can still go ahead and use several different Smartcast apps that I've downloaded to play it through the Google Chromecast. And if you're unfamiliar with Google Chromecast, basically what that is the device you plug into the TV. A lot of new TVs like the Vzo behind me here has it built in, and basically what it allows you to do is basically cast things from your phone that are Google Chromecast compatible to your TV. So for instance, let's say I want to watch Netflix, right? I can basically just open up the app on my phone, select the TV once it's all set up, like say living room 70, select that TV, Netflix will pop up there, and the phone becomes the remote control. Same thing with this TV because I've added the Chromecast, okay? This setup also has Chromecast audio, so if I don't want to turn on the TV, I can actually cast music through Pandora or Spotify directly to the receiver unit. Another thing that I've done here is I have this, this is a Bluetooth receiver. And what I've done, this is very cheap, I got this off eBay. What you can do is you can actually connect Alexa. Okay? You can connect her, and instead of using her speaker, you can use the audio equipment. So let's say I want to use her to play, I don't know, whatever. And some of these systems are redundant. So a lot of this will do the same thing that Google will do, but just does it in a different way. Google has now added the support for Bluetooth. However, you can't cast from that to a device. You can only cast from a device to Google and use it as a speaker. Where is the Alexa? I can go ahead and cast. If I'm playing Pandora on there, I can tell her to connect to that. It'll connect to the home entertainment or the home theater system over here, and play whatever I want to play through that, and still have it all voice control. What else about that? That's really about it. Now you can obviously see I use this in-wall cabinet, but I just wanted something bigger and better, and so I opted to go with the 70. The issue with my problem is that the house here, in order for me to get wires, I didn't want to have anything out in front of this. I don't like seeing the components. I like everything to look clean. And so in order to get the wires from this TV over to the fire or over to this cabinet, it would have been a nightmare and involved going outside the house. It's an outside conduit. And I didn't really want to do that and clutter up the wall because obviously you can see I have a little bit of art and paintings there, and I change that up from time to time. And I didn't want to do that, so I opted to go to soundbar. And I'm really, really pleased with the Vzo Sound Bar. If you haven't checked out my video review on that one, check it out. It is one of the best sounding sound bars I have heard. About $400, $500 for the sound bar, but it's worth every penny. You get that little bit of added rear surround. Again, if you're looking for something that's going to blow you through the walls, this isn't it. But this is going to give you some very nice sound. And compared to this system here, which you can see, I'm going to close this up here. And again, this is all done when I moved in. Before when I gutted the place, I was able to do stuff I'm not able to do now without a lot of mess. And so you'll see right there behind me, there's 3 flat panel speakers that are wall mounted, and those are tuned per the distance for the love seat here. And those are made by Acoustic Research, and then there's a subwoofer underneath the table over here for that system. So really, there's 2 systems in the room. Really, this one doesn't get used as much anymore. But, if I wanted to sit in a love seat and watch something on a smaller screen, I could. If I wanted to have, not that I'm a huge football fan, sorry guys, but if I did want to have a game on or something like that, I had a bunch of people over, you could have 2 TVs going, so you could really rock the house with the game, right? Or any game for that matter. Maybe a UFC fight, whatever, right? So what else? With this particular TV, I have cut the cord from cable years ago. Everything I do is through streaming systems. And what I did is, where I live, locally, we get about 9 different, and it may be better or worse where you live, 9 different over-the-air HD channels. So what I did is I added an amplified unidirectional HD antenna on top of my roof on my chimney, and I basically just backwired that into the house wiring. I disconnected the cable from the cable company's box, so my house is completely separate from their system, and it won't be hooked up because I don't subscribe to Xfinity or any kind of cable. And so what it is, I backwired that signal in, so at least all the TVs, they get at least 9 channels of HD over-the-air broadcast. Some areas of the country, you get a lot more. So really, you really can cut the cord and get a lot, you know, I mean, people are paying so much money for cable, I'll never do it. So with that being said, let's get back to some of the features of the Google. So let's go on, or the Google Home. So I just want to show you. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and say, I'm going to put you down for 1 second here because I'm kind of getting tired of holding you, okay? I'm just going to move you around a little for a second here. Now, remember, guys, these are very, very informal videos. Very informal. And the whole idea is to kind of share with you kind of some of the things that I've done. Now, also, mounted behind the TV is an Android, the best you can get per review, Android set-top cable or smart box, TV box. I went with the NVIDIA Shield. Some TVs in the house, I have the Fire Stick, which I use on the Kodi app in order to get videos and music off my hard drive. It's a very, very nice interface. If you don't know anything about that, message me. I'll definitely tell you all about it. It's a great interface that came from the Xbox Media Center to allow you to connect to your network-attached storage and get all your movies and all your music. And what it does is it compiles all the beautiful menus. So it's almost like your own personal Netflix. You can get pictures, music, and play it right through any system that's installed on. So in theory, not in theory, but I can basically stream on any TV in my house my whole collection of music and my whole collection of movies on any TV using my smartphone with the apps. And that's a whole, you know, I'll do a lot more videos showing you exactly how that works. But in this case, let me just go ahead and show you how the Google works. And what we're going to do is, this TV, again, has the 70 has the built-in Smartcast. So I'm just going to say, just to show you a couple different things, I'm just going to go ahead and show you, for instance, let's show you the lighting. So, hey Google, turn off the living room lights.
Sure, turning off 5 lights.
So, now the LifeX bulbs are compatible with the Google Home, but what I'm doing to avoid confusion with the device, I'm using, hey Google, turn on the living room lights.
Sure, turning on 5 lights.
Hey Google, change the color of living room lights to blue. Hey Google, change the color of the living room lights to warm white.
Sure.
So there you go.
Lights to warm white.
Now you can select devices individually. Now when I say living room, that's because it's part of a group. So she will actually turn on the track lighting, which is the Zigbee, which is totally different from the LifeX bulbs, and communicate with all that stuff. In this particular situation, I didn't add the LifeX bulbs to the Google app. I added them to my Smartthings account, which Google will also communicate with. And with the Smartthings, that's a separate hub you install, which is able to communicate with a lot more different devices. The whole idea is to allow your smart home and your voice control and the Samsung Smartthings to communicate with all these different brand devices. And they're adding more and more brands every day. And so what I did is I did have the LifeX bulbs directly linked in the Google Home app, but I deleted it and I just made the Smartthings account active in there so that it avoids it overlapping. Because if you have LifeX in there and Smartthings and they're both linked, it kind of confuses the device. So by doing it that way, it avoided any kind of confusion. Now the thermostat that I showed you earlier, that one's strictly linked to the Google Home app. And I may change that to Samsung, but I couldn't get that one to add to Samsung. It might not be supported in SmartThings, but it works at Google. And I know I have, you know, I won't say her name again, but I primarily use the Google Home because, in my personal opinion, it does a lot more with the smart home stuff. It's just a lot easier, and I believe it's a lot smarter. Sorry, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but it's really the truth. I think it's a much better device, and I bought both because I got the Dot first. That's when I kind of first started, the Amazon Dot. And then I learned about the Google Home, and I got that, and then they kept adding more with smart home integration. And as time has gone on, Google it's adding more and more. Now with the Google Home too, because the Smartcast or the Chromecast is actually a Google device, you can actually tell tell Google Home to cast something to any of the TVs. So I can basically say, Google, play Netflix on living room Chromecast. Play Netflix Walking Dead Season 1, be specific, on living room 70. and it'll automatically play that and start it, and you can stop it and say pause. It's all voice controlled. So it's really, really a fantastic system. You just have to kind of get used to using your voice and the app if you want to change, turn the lights on or off or whatnot. That's the only downflaw I see to any of this particular system with the LifeX bulbs, is that the switches always have to be on, and you have to kind of get used to the fact that the only way you're going to turn those things on and off without, you can still kill the switch, but then if you leave it off too long, you have to re-enter all the Wi-Fi credentials. So you don't really want to do that. You want to keep the switches on, which is what I do, and I put those bulbs in areas where I don't mind keeping the switches on. Okay. Now in some situations, just like behind I showed you the GE Zigbee switch, what that one there is, that's a communication system that you have to, it won't work with just the Google Home. That's why I got the Smartthings Hub. And the Hub is able to communicate with Wi-Fi devices and Zigbee and Z-Wave. Excuse me, this is Z-Wave devices. And you can look that up and learn more about that. But basically all this is a smart Wi-Fi, or it's not Wi-Fi enabled. This switch is not connected to my network. This switch is getting its signal to turn on and off from the Google Home, which communicates with the Samsung SmartThings, which sends a signal via the SmartThings device, or SmartThings Hub. So a lot of different things, and that's one thing I like about having a hub. And there's different hubs out there you can choose to. You have to make your own judgment on which one's going to work better for you. I opted to go with SmartThings because it was on sale, of course, and it works for pretty much everything that I want to do. And that's one thing you have to think about when you're buying new devices. Like, for instance, my camera system doesn't integrate with SmartThings. So I didn't really want to go with the Arlo because that's really expensive and it was battery powered. And I wanted to go with Zomato instead because I just liked the way their system worked better. So I separate those two things as two different apps to view those cameras or whatnot. But for me, it doesn't really matter. It works out perfectly. So there are going to be some situations in your house that you may want to have the ability to change the color of the light. So that's where the SmartThings come, or the LifeX bulbs come in. They're all, again, voice control, and you can change the color to whatever you want, dim them down to whatever you want, lots of control, set timers, turn them on, off, whatever you want to do. Now with the Z-Wave switch, all that does is really turn the lights on and off, dim them up and down. But you can do that all voice control and with the SmartThings app. So you need those, in order to make this work, you have to actually have the hub to make it work. You can't make it work by buying the switch and downloading any kind of app. It doesn't work that way. You have to have a way to communicate with it, and that's what the SmartThings Hub does. So the thing is, it'd be nice if there was just one manufacturer who made one thing and it all worked together, but unfortunately everybody's competing for that business, and luckily there are hubs out there that communicate with several different platforms, which is really, really great. And I think Samsung SmartThings is a great hub, and I've been very, very happy with it. Now, a few things I'm going to do down the road. I would like to actually change out a few more switches. I'm using in some parts of the house the old X10 system, whereas you have the big clunky remote. It's like back from like the 80s. They still make it. It still works, but it uses radio frequency to take that signal, whether it be on, off, dim, up, and down. It sends it to a transceiver, which is plugged into an outlet. And then, of course, that signal is sent through the wires, and then whatever device you have plugged into that, whether it be one of the plug-in modules or a wall switch, it communicates that signal through the house wiring and tells the device whether it'll work. It does up and down, dim up and down or on and off. It works depending on your house, because it depends on how some houses are wired. I have rooms in my house that it just won't work depending on where I have the transceiver located. Like my office won't receive the signal from anywhere else. So the Wi-Fi stuff, the Zigbee stuff, the Z-Wave are all really, really great devices. So there are a few lights in my house that I would like to change over to those. But at $40 a wall switch, it's a little pricey. But as time goes on, these prices will come down. There's a lot of different brands coming out there. But for me, I want to stick with those two because I have the SmartThings Hub. So I hope that answered a few of your questions, or just kind of informed you a little bit about some of the devices that I have that I'll be reviewing one-on-one at a later date, showing you a little bit more about the apps. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. If you know about any new products coming out, let me know. Remember to subscribe to the channel. And as always, guys, I'll put links in the description where you can pick this stuff up. And again, if you do pick it up and you have any kind of problems with it, let me know. I'm more than happy to help you. I check my comment section throughout the day, non-stop. So again, guys, thanks a lot for watching. As always, have a great day.